Justin, congratulations, so deserved.
Thank you.
Want to learn more about your company?
I used to be in law enforcement in California. I was in San Diego. A lot of people think that San Diego is just beaches and palm trees and whatnot, and it is those things, but what people don't realize is that it's one of the largest counties in America, and most of it is actually uninhabited desert and high alpine environment. Very, very challenging terrain. We were searching for an armed suspect who was better trained, better armed than us, and I was just trying to think of a way, frankly, to survive, but really to prevail. And I remember this study that was done by two Stanford biologists, Dennis Braun and Greg Heller, that figured out that you could supercharge the body's physiology, basically beating anabolic steroids in terms of performance, if you applied certain amounts of cooling during and after exercise. And anybody can find this. Stanford cooling glove, Google, it'll come right up, okay? And so I was like, well, this would be really handy, but like you can't take this glove with you out in the field. So how do we get like 1% of those benefits, but we get an infinite gain in the mobility? I combined it with something called TCCC, which is basically emergency medicine for people in law enforcement and the military. It's taught at medical schools around the world, has been for decades. Basically, you just apply ice packs or heat packs to what are called pulse points, basically superficial vascular exposures in the body. Combine them with athletic base layers so that you could move around, and that was our first idea. We put it on Kickstarter in December of 2015. The Army found us a month later, asked us if we could give them 10 times the power. We were like, are you giving us a new periodic table? We were like, that's gonna be impossible, right? And they said, no, add no weight, no moving parts, no power, has to work with all body armor in the US military's inventory, go, right? We're like, well, no weight, like, okay, how do you do that? And so I had this kind of light bulb moment January 16th of 2016 where I realized that we were thinking about the problem all wrong. We were thinking about batteries as traditional chemistry, and what you really had to do was think about batteries as a means of storing energy. And I realized that every soldier was already issued a 100-ounce soft bladder, right, a traditional drinking bladder, and that if you froze 100 ounces of water ice, that you could actually store over 140 watts of power. And the Army was asking for 140 watts over 2 hours. And so I realized, like, oh, okay, all you have to do is reshape the water bottle into something that works with body armor, and then that's how we created our first product, the ice plate, which is a water bottle shaped like an armor plate. You freeze it, you wear it underneath your armor, your body heat melts the ice, you drink the water, it gets lighter over time.
You mentioned you were in San Diego. You're in Knoxville, Tennessee right now.
Yes, ma'am.
The company up and running here in Knoxville. Talk about this transition from the West Coast to the East.
So I had a company before this one. When I sold it in 2011, I decided that the state of California did not show up to work and take the same risks that we did building that company. Paid the tax bill, grew very resentful, was reminded at how ineffective that trade was. I moved to Dallas, Texas. My business partner, my co-founder and I, JD, we started this company in Dallas technically in 2015. And then our first customer was a government agency in Northern Virginia, and they bought our first ice plates, and I found myself commuting there regularly from Dallas and got tired of it, and then just moved to Northern Virginia. My business partner was already from there. And then very quickly we figured out that Northern Virginia was kind of like California, but without the food and the weather. And we were like, this is a tough place to do business. And we lost a lot of great candidates who wanted to come work for the company, especially in 2020, 2021, where the traditional family values and American values that run and govern and started Qore Performance and drive Qore Performance to this day were constantly at odds with the local governments of Northern Virginia. And in East Tennessee, I found my my soulmate in terms of what I always knew America could be, what I wanted it to be, and where I knew the company could excel.
What does the future look like for Qore Performance?
The power grid has 3 challenges on it right now. So you have generative AI, you have electric vehicles, and then you have, with this deglobalization, so this reshoring of American manufacturing, this rebirth that we're seeing, and shrinking populations, America needs to get more out of its organizations than ever before, right? Efficiency and productivity are paramount. But you can't do that in a lot of factories without installing HVAC. But there's not enough power on our grid to HVAC all of the industrial spaces in America. It would take tons and tons of terawatts that we just can't produce anytime soon. So you have to find an economical way to combat rising temperatures and boost productivity of the workforce. We are the best solution to do that, bar none. The math proves it. You don't have to take my word for it, right? Even if a lot of factories were given HVAC units for free, it would still be cheaper and much more effective for them to use us, given the operating costs and the differences in performance that we've already proven with a lot of our commercial customers. So we're very excited to be able to help the country be stronger in manufacturing, distribution, warehousing, these critical parts of our economic infrastructure that really not a lot of people have addressed, but are going to have to be addressed in order for us to prevail with these other big things that are happening in our economy right now.
Well, Justin, congratulations to you and your team at Qore Performance.
Thank you so much.
Much deserved award.
Thank you.